When we look at the major endocrine glands, we focus on the glands that control many essential functions in the body, like growth, metabolism, stress response, and blood sugar control. And the four main glands we will talk about here are the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the adrenal gland, and the pancreas. And understanding what each gland releases and what those hormones do helps you see how the endocrine system keeps the body steady. The pituitary gland is often called the master gland because many of its hormones control other endocrine glands, and it sits just below the brain in the small bony pocket, and it releases hormones like TSH, ACTH, GH, FSH, and LH, and each of these hormones has a specific target. So TSH stimulates the thyroid, ACTH stimulates the adrenal glands, and GH helps control growth and metabolism. And because it responds to signals from the brain, the pituitary acts like a bridge between the nervous system and the endocrine system. The hormones from the pituitary gland support many different functions, and GH supports tissues grow and repair, while TSH controls thyroid hormone production and ACTH tells the adrenal cortex to release cortisol for stress response. And then we have FSH and LH, which helps regulate the reproduction system, or prolactin, which supports milk production. And even though these hormones come from one gland, their effects spread across many systems in the body. The thyroid gland sits in the front of the neck and produces hormones called T3 and T4, which control how fast the body uses energy, how warm the body stays, and how quickly cells work. And these hormones affect almost every organ because metabolism influences everything from heart rate to digestion to growth. And the thyroid needs iodine to make these hormones, which is why iodine deficiency can affect thyroid function. Thyroid hormones increase metabolic rate, meaning they make cells use energy faster, and this leads to increased heart production and faster body processes. And when thyroid hormones are too low, everything slows down, and when they are too high, everything speeds up, which shows how sensitive the body is to amount of T3 and T4. And the pituitary gland regulates this by releasing TSH to keep thyroid hormone levels in the right range. The adrenal gland sits on top of the kidneys and have two main parts, the cortex and the medulla, and each part releases different hormones, and the adrenal cortex releases cortisol and aldosterone, while the adrenal medulla releases adrenaline and noradrenaline. And these hormones control stress response, salt and water balance, blood pressure, and how the body uses fats and glucose during physical and emotional stress. Cortisol helps the body respond to stress by increasing glucose in the blood and changing how the immune system works. And aldosterone controls sodium and potassium balance, which affects blood pressure. And the adrenal medulla releases adrenaline, which increases heart rate, widens airways, and prepares the body for quick action. And all these hormones become active when the body needs extra energy and when it must maintain balance during stressful situations. The pancreas has both digestive and endocrine roles, but here we focus on the endocrine side, where it releases insulin and glucagon to control blood glucose level. And insulin lowers blood glucose by helping cells take in glucose, while glucagon raises blood glucose by releasing stored glucose from the liver. And keeping glucose in a safe range is important because the body depends on it as a major source of energy. Insulin works after meals when glucose levels rise, and it helps move glucose into muscle cells, fat cells and other tissues so the blood levels goes back down. And glucagon does the opposite, working when glucose levels fall like between meals and during long activity, and it brings glucose back up by acting on the liver. And these two hormones create a balance that prevents the body from having too much or too little glucose. These major endocrine glands do not work alone, and many of their hormones interact with each other at the same time to keep the body stable. And the pituitary controls the thyroid and adrenal glands, while the pancreas adjusts blood glucose. And all these systems respond to signals from the brain, stress levels, food intake, sleep, and overall energy demand. And when these glands communicate properly, the body stays balanced even when conditions change throughout the day.